It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Hey everybody, it's Tyrone Jackson and welcome back to Trading Stocks Made Easy. Trading Stocks Made Easy, this should be your favorite podcast when it comes to stock market information. Let's take a deep dive into AI infrastructure. Now, I am a teacher, stock market trader, and wealth coach. And sometimes, let's just put it this way, I have a feeling about certain sectors. There's certain sectors in the stock market. We don't trade in the Wealthy Investor Program, by the way. Anything in banking and pharmaceuticals, it's way too complex a subject to start buying shares on. So most of us are, without realizing it, into technology because that's where a lot of fast money is in the stock market. Well, right now, it is with great reluctance that I and my students are making a lot of money off of AI, artificial intelligence. But let me explain a historic pattern to you right before I take a deeper dive into AI. Do you remember the gold rush in the state of California last century? Well, most people accept this as fact. There are basically two groups that got rich during the great gold rush. And those two groups simply are people who found gold. Some of them started banks, like Wells Fargo, for example, and people who sold the picks and shovels, right? Because if you were going to dig for gold, you needed the right tools. So history has noted that people who sell the right tools can get as rich or richer than people who actually mine the gold. Well, that's kind of happening digitally when it comes to AI infrastructure. In other words, there are various types of artificial intelligence as it relates to software and ChatGPT, and it's a vast field. But you see, no matter where you go in the direction of AI, you're going to need infrastructure. Your AI infrastructure is going to be built on someone's platform, almost like a website that needs hosting, but that platform needs to be secure. Does that make sense? So you'll probably need 7 layers of security so that no one can hack into your system. Now, if you need 7 layers of security so that no one can hack into your AI infrastructure, there are only a handful of companies that can offer that kind of security. So, when we start looking at AI for the consumer, well, not really full-blown. But when we start looking at enterprise AI, AI for hospitals and health insurance and the auto business, right? Well, you're going to need that security and a sophisticated AI host. Do you get it? Right. That's why companies like Oracle are seeing their shares rise radically because they're becoming a major player in AI infrastructure. Now, if you followed their stock, you know about 90 days ago, that stock, when they introduced their revenue for the quarter, took a huge move and went something like $25 to $35 up in one day. That was history making for those of us who really follow the stock market on a daily basis. Well, here we are in the middle of this particular earnings season, and guess what? There are 4 more companies that just revealed that they are an AI infrastructure play, and they told us how much money they see coming in. This is forward-looking revenue. And one of those companies told us how much future revenue they have waiting to book, and they are backlogged. And that was Google. Google told us in their last earnings reveal, which was 72 hours ago, that they have $150 billion in enterprise orders that they can't even get to as it relates to hosting AI. Now, you got to remember that in this new AI world, in order for your data center to run well, you need faster GPUs and CPUs in your data systems, and you're going to use a lot of electricity, and you need the fastest semiconductors inside your data center running everything. Well, who has the fastest semiconductors? Yes, the semiconductor segment, right? And they're getting most of their chips that go inside these data centers from China. Wow, this is really interesting. But the demand for these faster semiconductor chips are causing backlogs. In other words, China can't even manufacture the semiconductor chips that go inside these data machines and servers fast enough to get them out into the world. What does that mean to you and I as investors in those companies? We are about to get richer sooner rather than later. Now, here's what they're telling us that the build out of AI infrastructure is going to take 2 to 5 years. Well, if there's a backlog of chips and supplies from China for the next 2 to 5 years, the stocks that are building out infrastructure are all rising. So here's what I want to emphasize in today's episodes. A lot of times when I'm teaching live or in Maui or even online and I'm explaining to you where the money is, I have a saying, don't buy the stock if you don't understand the story. If you don't understand how that company generates revenues and top and bottom line income, then you're not going to see the signals to actually buy the stock. Does this make sense? All right. So what I've done throughout my career as a wealth coach and stock market trader is I've demystified, I've broken down how companies make money from what segment of the marketplace. So since you listen to the show so much, I'm really trying to point you in the right direction so you get a sense of how many millions and millions of dollars are about to be made by investors and how many trillions and billions of dollars are going to be made by insider Wall Street types. Why? Because we know less than 10% of the U.S. population own stocks directly. So they are, in effect, locked out of the AI infrastructure gain and wave that's taking over the world right now. So that means only a handful of individuals really know how much money is being generated in quarterly revenue in companies like Oracle. And you're one of those people. Can you imagine that? So I'm not trying to teach you greed. I teach systems that can be duplicated over and over and over by buying sectors and stocks in the sectors that Wall Street really likes. Except I focus on S&P and Dow stocks. Now, why would I always encourage you to buy certain S&P and Dow stocks? Well, if you qualify as a company to be part of the S&P, you have a history of revenue growth, right? Doesn't that make sense? Okay. If you qualify to be a member of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, those top 30 stocks, you are less risk-oriented as a company because you have a history of bringing in billions and billions and billions of dollars, right? So if you and I are only dating, as we say in the Wealthy Investor Program, stocks that are in those two indexes, we've already stacked the deck in our favor. So every time we go through a quarterly earnings revenue update, we are tracking the winners, the best of the best. Stay out of $16 stocks, $9 stocks, penny stocks during this era because they are not benefiting from AI infrastructure. The way to benefit from AI infrastructure on a grand scale is to own the S&P components and the Dow components who are about to make trillions. How do we know they're making trillions? They're telling us. And yes, trillions. When I was 7, that number wasn't even invented yet. It wasn't even real. But here we are in the AI infrastructure $1 trillion era. So much to be excited about. Back in a moment.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't understand how to write covered calls for monthly income? No problem. Simply review Tyrone's latest stock trades in our video library as many times as you need. WITradeschool.com is all about helping you get the financial education you need to earn money in the stock market and change your financial life. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
Okay, so today we're talking about this idea of AI infrastructure stocks and who is going to be the winner. Now, I can tell you I don't know all the winners because we're still in the middle of earnings season, right? But those chip stocks are right around the corner from revealing what they've earned in the last quarter. I'll be watching very closely and making recommendations to you if you want to own shares in those companies. But imagine if you knew how to sell covered calls on companies that are in the top 5 AI investor infrastructure plays. That would mean that you'd be generating residual income off of selling those call options, whether the stock moved or not. But it just so happens that the companies that we have our eyes on are actually moving. Now, if you and I are selling covered calls against, let's say, 300, 400, maybe even 1,100 shares in our retirement account, that means we're getting rich off of AI on a tax-deferred basis. Why? All this money that you could be generating right now in the stock market, you don't pay taxes on until it's time for you to retire. What hurts my heart every single month is that I am spreading good news as fast as I can to people like you to get in on this trend. You don't have to be locked out, right? But we know that most of the U.S. population will be locked out because they never opened a brokerage account for $500. They never started investing their money. Therefore, they're not participating in this boom. So while all these crazy things are going on as it relates to politics and in the White House, there is a group of people in the United States of America and beyond who are quietly getting richer than they could ever imagine because they understand the idea of artificial intelligence and picks and shovels. Are we in the middle of a digital gold rush? We sure are. So what are 3 things that you can do right now? Number 1, get involved in the wealthy investor community, start a membership at WI Trade School, or at least sign up for our email list because I want you to see what moves stocks when it comes to a trend like this. Because if you understand this trend, you'll understand future trends as it relates to new technology. There's always new technology, and Wall Street is already financing it. Number 2, get to learn as much as you can about the stock market so you have an idea of what goes on in the Dow Jones and the S&P 500. If you know how the market functions, you can participate. And number 3, why do you want to start participating in the market? So that your grandchildren can participate, so that your children can participate. You cannot pass on a financial education you do not have. It all starts with the desire to develop a millionaire mindset. All of the money that you will make in the world and in this lifetime is based on what you believe to be true. So if I say, hey, you can easily earn an extra $5,000 a month trading, do you believe that? Are you open to that? Are you aware of how easy that is? It's not hard. That's why the name of the show is Trading Stocks Made Easy, because my goal is to demystify Wall Street from beginning to end. This revolution that we're in is due to last 2 to 5 years. Why? Because AI is going to bring so much opportunity for infrastructure that we can own the stocks to the companies that are running the entire game. You see, one of the reasons that you're not up to $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, it's because of the neighborhood that you live in and the people who you are close to. They probably know very little about investing and the stock market, infrastructure, as well as indexes. Birds of a feather do what? They flock together. always. So if you're not around people who are generating millions of dollars in ownership of infrastructure plays in the stock market, you've just limited yourself. Now, it's not your fault. You're busy working for a living, correct? Right. But the reason to listen to the show is so you can get out of old molds and old ways of behaving when it comes to your money and starting new positive financial habits for you and your family. If the future is bright for AI infrastructure, the future is very bright for you and your financial life. Just join me and take advantage of it all. I'll see you on the next episode of Trading Stocks Made Easy.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.